Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The members of the Security Council of the United Nations will now make a statement on their visit to Colombia. We now give the floor to Her Excellency Ambassador Karen Rodriguez-Burkett, Permanent Representative of Guyana to the United Nations.
Thank you very much, and very happy to be in Colombia. The members of the Security Council had the opportunity to meet with a number of stakeholders, including His Excellency the President, President Petro, the SJP, congressmen, senators, women's organizations, youth, civil society, and 2 field visits, one to Buenaventura and the other to Agua Bonita. The visit allowed us members of the Council to have face-to-face interactions with all of these people, and this will certainly help us in our assessment of the progress and the challenges that remain with respect to the implementation of the 2016 final peace agreement. We were also able to learn a bit more about the total peace policy. We heard a range of perspectives, but I would like to say there were a few main messages that I certainly heard throughout this visit to Colombia. First, everyone that we met reiterated their commitment to peace. The overwhelming majority said they support the 2016 final peace agreement. The second message that we heard is the need for rapid implementation of the agreement. They want this to be accelerated. And in many of the meetings, the person spoke about rural reform and the ethnic chapter in particular to ensure that those issues are dealt with as soon as possible. But for implementation to accelerate, they also said to us that the violence must cease, that decision-making must consider the context of the specific areas, as different areas have different needs. And also, in some cases, they spoke about the degradation of the environment must also cease. We also learned about the need for the drug problem to be tackled internationally. It was felt in many cases that this is a problem that Colombia alone cannot solve. And I think that is true, and that we should advocate, we members of the Security Council should advocate for a review of international policy relating to illegal drugs. Thirdly, the absence of the state in many areas was highlighted by a number of the different groups of people that we met. And we were told that in some cases where the ceasefire exists, there are other groups who have found a space there. And so the call for a multilateral ceasefire, we also heard that. For me, the meeting with the women and the youth were especially touching as they spoke about their hopes and their dreams and their aspirations, and for violence to end so that Colombia can move forward. Finally, what I think is also my assessment is that there is political will in Colombia for the peace agreement to be implemented. And that, I think, is excellent. And we hope that implementation would speed up. Lastly, everyone that we met spoke about the continued support of the United Nations Security Council and, of course, the work of the verification mission that is here in Colombia. And so these are my reflections. It was a very, very good visit. The hospitality of the Colombian people is super, and we want to thank them, and we want to thank everyone who made this visit possible. The reports we receive at the Security Council from the verification mission are very helpful, but there's nothing like coming on the ground and meeting with the people and talking with them. And we were able to hear about their hopes and their dreams and their aspirations for a better and a brighter Colombia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Next, we will hear the statement from the United Kingdom, Her Excellency Ambassador Dame Barbara Woodward, Permanent Representative of the United Kingdom to the United Nations.
Thank you. Well, we're now in Cartagena on Colombia's Caribbean coast at the end of our UN Security Council visit to Colombia in support of Colombia's peace process and to look at what has followed the decades of conflict. We've met with President Petro, with Vice President, with the Foreign Minister acting, with the Vice Foreign Minister, and with the High Commissioner for Peace, as well as so many civil rights activists, victims, and also signatories of the peace process. We've heard their evaluation of success, disappointment, challenges, and we've been able to discuss next steps against the background of our quarterly discussions in the UN Security Council. Yesterday in Agua Bonita, we met peace signatories and saw firsthand progress, including on demining, education, cultural programs. But we heard too about the challenges of the delays of restorative justice and land reform and how worrying that is both for the individuals concerned, but also for the trajectory of the peace process. Today in Buenaventura, against the background of the sparkling Pacific, we saw lives impacted, wrecked, and even destroyed by drugs and violence and armed gangs. What I've seen everywhere, however, is the partnership between the UN verification mechanism, the UN agencies, funds and programs, and the Colombian government and the Colombian people, communities and individuals working together to build a sustainable peace. We met with the High Commissioner for Peace to discuss the government's efforts to broaden peace through dialogue, and we commend those ambitious efforts. And it was an opportune moment too to discuss the ELN process, given the recent extension of the ceasefire. The Council has also discussed the EMC process, which we've indicated a willingness to consider a UN role to support. More than anything, I think I take away two things from this visit. First, that peace is not an abstract concept. It's a concept that is effectively deep-rooted here in society, and it matters to all Colombians. I've seen too that progress in peace is a whole of society commitment, from the president, the vice president, right through to activists, to ethnic minorities, and to some really passionate and committed young people that I met. And one of the most heartwarming moments that we shared during this astonishing visit was to hear the Bogota Philharmonic Choir singing for us, made up of the children of peace signatories. What do I conclude? Colombia is making progress towards peace, and this is effectively the halfway moment in the peace process since 2016. This is a peace that matters to Colombians across the country. It matters to the UN and in particular the Security Council, and it matters too to the rest of the world. So Colombia's road towards peace is an inspiration for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Next, we will hear the statement from Switzerland, Her Excellency Ambassador Pascal Bereswil, Permanent Representative of Switzerland to the United Nations.
Let me add my voice and thank the government and the people of Colombia for the very, very warm welcome we have received, but also for the strong commitment we have witnessed at every level. So we went to Caquetá, to the field yesterday for a visit, and the Council got to experience firsthand the courageous work of the first humanitarian demining organization in the world, led and comprised by former combatants. Council members demonstrated great interest in learning about Humanicemos, a project, the activities and the community-based approach this project has. And after returning from Caquetá, the Council also welcomed a group of diverse women from various backgrounds to share their views on the implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda in Colombia, the development of the first national action plan of the country, as well as their perspectives on the dialogues with the ELN and EMC FARC-EP. Women representatives underscored the importance of the implementation of the gender provisions of the final peace agreement, and they share the powerful message that without women at the negotiations table, there will be no successful peace. They want to be part of the decision-making process and not mere consultation. And finally, in my national capacity and with regard to the ongoing peace talks, I would like to stress that dialogue is the only way forward to foster sustainable peace across all territories. We have seen important advantages in the functioning of ceasefires, and we welcome the ongoing strengthening of provisions on the protection of civilians, as well as the monitoring and verification mechanisms. We are aware of the many challenges you face, but we hope that through dialogue, you will be able to build lasting peace. The Security Council and also the UN mission here in Colombia, which is doing a great job, will be standing by your side. Entonces, les deseo mucho éxito en su empeño por construir la paz. Muchas gracias.
This concludes the statement of the United Nations Security Council. Good night to everybody.